Hey, guys. Good morning. It's your girl, Misha, and the bestie, Fawn. Good morning.
Great morning,
Yeah, so
Bestie.
I got her out here. Y'all know she ain't but we here. So we've been starting to walk every Saturday. This is our second Saturday doing it, but it's very therapeutic for us, along with trying to, get in shape or whatever, be more healthier. I'm gonna say that. So as you guys are aware, I have been trying to do, ain't no trying to been, I've been doing a becoming series for the month of June, and we're just going to have a conversation about becoming, and I'm going to ask her a few questions about personal, uh, about purpose. I'm sorry, about purpose and identity. So she doesn't know the questions, but we're just going to have a conversation and tune in, tap in. So the first question I want to ask you is, if your job title disappeared tomorrow, who would you be?
I believe I'll still be the same person because even in my job, I help people. I like to be a listening ear.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm going to school for behavioral science, so I love understanding people. So I'll still be the same person, um, just more intentional, like more outside. Because in human, I'm only dealing with human and civil rights, like discrimination at my job. So
Mhm.
I'll be able to have a broader span of who I can deal with.
Okay. And FYI, like I said, y'all know we just come from walking, so disclaimer, we wasn't trying to be dressed up and all that. But anyway, uh what are you becoming beyond your career?
I'm becoming more intentional.
Hmm.
I'm becoming more aware of who I am as a woman, apart from a relationship, apart from my job, part of, a family member, mom. Like I'm becoming myself. Like more confident with who I
Yeah.
am.
So when you say you are becoming, I want you to be a little bit more in depth. Like, is it physical, mental, emotional? Like,
All areas. I have been on a over 11-year journey of walking with myself, finding myself. So mentally, just healing from childhood trauma, healing from things I've done to myself, got situation I got myself into. Physically,
hmm
I have a personal trainer.
hmm
We're out here walking. I'm more intentional with how I look, because as you're over 50,
hmm
you know what I mean, things start
right.
doing what they want to do. So, just
Right.
being intentional and just keeping, myself mentally, physically, spiritually. I was out of church for
hmm
years.
hmm
I have a church home.
hmm
So just, just yes, because this one right here, you need to assemble yourself. The Bible says assemble yourself. So I'm assembled, y'all.
Right. But that's
um,
what makes us who we are as a relationship, meaning
mhm,
because iron sharpens iron.
absolutely.
Sometimes she be sharpening me and it don't feel good, and vice versa. Sometimes I sharpen her and
Yes.
it don't feel good. But that's what makes our relationship so authentic,
Yeah,
and we have the longevity.
absolutely.
All right. So um what would you pursue if failure wasn't an option?
If failure was not an option, I would be a full time jewelry maker, walking in purpose, getting the training that I need, and just dedicated to it. Um, I love adornment. I love dressing. I'm around her, so we love to
There's
dress.
another reason why we
But
have longevity.
um, so I would love. I just love women to look beautiful. Like I
Mhm.
just love them. Like I love to see women shine. So I would be a full time jewelry maker.
All right. Uh, what legacy are you actively building?
Wow, that's a
Mhm.
good question right there.
Mhm.
And I think now, like after
Mhm.
my mom passed, like when my mom passed,
Mhm.
just seeing how everybody, like I didn't even understand that my mom had spread herself out, like was
Mhm.
available to that many people, but everyone has something really good to say. Like
Mhm.
she poured into them. She wasn't just around, but she poured into them.
Mhm.
And it doesn't always take money or things like that.
Mhm.
I want to be, I want God to use me to spread his purpose, to spread his word.
Mm-hmm.
When people see me, I don't care what their day look like. I'm always going to be like, great morning, great
Mm-hmm.
afternoon, great
Mm-hmm.
evening. How you doing? I'm
Mm-hmm.
always going to be smiling.
Mm-hmm.
So, I truly believe you do not have to look like what you're going through. Every
Amen.
day is not going to be a good day.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you. I have more valley season than I have mountaintop,
Mm-hmm.
but you will never know it.
Mm-hmm. And to switch lanes just a little bit about giving them privy to the conversation we had when we was walking. We were talking about the difference between happiness and joy, because in a part of becoming, you have to be able to differentiate the feeling of happiness and joy. So expound on them knowing the difference between being happy and having joy.
Joy, as we both know, evangelist, is a fruit of the spirit. So that just comes from within. That's from God. You know what I
Mm-hmm,
mean? Once
mm-hmm,
you're in tune with God,
mm-hmm,
you should have joy
mm-hmm,
automatically. Happiness is like, I'm doing things,
mm-hmm,
I'm out here, I'm moving around,
mm-hmm,
I'm okay. But when I go back home, or when a problem hit,
mm-hmm,
can I still have that joy in my spirit?
mm-hmm.
Do I turn into a different person because life is life?
Right.
So you joy is more foundational. That's your foundation.
Foundation.
Happiness is just a
Right.
offspring of
Right.
joy.
Right. Because I'm sure you can recall times where I'll say this: when you come on the other side of not just having happiness or a happy feeling, because we could look at the other side, like when we know we didn't have joy, let's say that, and it's not that you judge people who
Mm-hmm.
don't have joy, but you could see the difference between
Absolutely.
having joy and happiness. Because, like I said, happiness could be temporary. That's like, oh, I'm having a good day. I'm happy. Yeah, how are you doing today? I'm happy. I'm whatever, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But joy is internal. It's like something that you could have a bad day and you could still have a presence about you that has
Mm-hmm.
joy, because uh what that is the saying that say happy people ain't hating and hating
People
people ain't
ain't
happy.
happy.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And I feel like it has validity to it, because you can tell when people just don't, and I'm gonna say don't have joy, because it's just when you're around them, their aura is just like,
Mm-hmm.
you be like, good morning. I remember
Mm-hmm.
working at when I used to work at Ben's, I used to come in every morning, good morning everybody, good morning, and people would barely even open their mouths to say good morning, and one day I was having an off day, and I walked right past everybody, and by the time I got past everybody, I kept hearing everybody say good morning, good morning. So
Expectation.
yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
you actually rub off on people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You actually rub off on people. So in part of becoming a better version of yourself, you always have to do self-assessments, like what aura am I giving off? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because when you don't have joy versus happiness, joy is something, like I said, that you it's contagious. Like you people, it will rub off on people, and
Absolutely.
just like negativity does, if you're around people who are always
You're
negative,
gonna draw it. You're gonna draw it. You're gonna definitely draw it.
you're going to draw it. You know what I'm saying? So just in becoming, and as I've been reiterating, it's not about the big things that you do or the external things that you do. All that is absolutely great. It's absolutely great. However, the work happens internally, and it's small steps at a time. And that's where I'm at in the season of my life, just little small steps. I'm concerned about Misha, and the small steps that I can take daily to become a better version of myself. And in turn, I'm hoping that I am inspiring others around me to, take the initiative to become a better version of yourself. Because I don't want to be the same person I was last week. Every day I'm trying, to be a better version than what I was yesterday. And like I said, before you look back by the end of the month, when you are taking intentional, steps to just little things. Like I said, I was in a grocery store the other day, me and her discussed about, this menopause stage we in. Some weight just gonna come on you. It's just gonna be
Yes.
there. It's no, but good morning. How are you? Good. But just making those intentional snack changes, like, I'm like, you can't keep eating chips and candy, Nisha. Like, what we doing? So just making those little small steps in different choices is helpful to me. And like I said, and what I'm trying to do, the intent and purpose that I'm trying to do just with this whole thing is to be a little bit more transparent about becoming, because a lot of times me and her were discussing on our walk, we always see the final product, the finished product of what people, show us.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's no need to be ashamed of what you did in your journey. A lot of people want to get on social media and just show you
The good.
they done lost 200
Mm-hmm.
pounds, but how you get there?
Yeah.
They want to show you, they are this successful person, but what did you do on your journey there?
Listen,
Go
you
ahead.
cannot cheat the process.
Mm-mm,
I
mm-mm,
don't care what you do. Like you cannot cheat the process because you got to keep the process up. So when
mm-hmm.
you cheat, you're missing steps. And when times do get hard, you're going to revert right back to where you were. This right here, like we were talking about on the walk, we were on a prayer line for 8 years,
What they
Monday
don't
through
know.
Friday, 4:15 a.m.
4:15 a.m.
We are seeing the fruits of that labor now. We've been off the prayer line, what, about 5 years
About 5 years now. Yep,
now.
about five
But
years.
we are, so it's not overnight. And when you land before God and you discussing and you know what's going on with you and God, why,
Mm-hmm,
it's not,
mm-hmm,
sometimes he do things instantly because we done had
mm-hmm.
things by 9 a.m. we calling.
Right.
But what you see sitting before you has been what, like a 15-year
Yeah.
process.
Right. Right. But been friends, probably what?
Yeah,
Um,
about 20
Chad,
something. Yeah,
no,
no,
more than
oh,
that.
oh my
Cause
God,
Chad,
yeah,
about 25,
25,
25
yeah,
going on to 30 years
yeah.
of friendship. And this is before Christ. Because we could say that'd be a whole nother conversation. That'd be a
Thank you,
whole nother
Jesus.
Saturday morning conversation for y'all. But yeah, this we ain't new to the game.
At all.
We true to the game, but now our truth is in Christ. Thank you, Jesus.
The
And like I
conversation has definitely
it changed,
changed.
right? And like I said, it's about just trying to be a little bit more transparent. About becoming, like I said, I know me personally and her too, because we kind of one of the same. We ain't putting all our business out there, but I understand that part of becoming is being a little bit more transparent,
Absolutely.
in your wins, in your losses. I explained to y'all the other day. I was telling her, here I am cheering y'all on, winning Wednesday. Honey, Wednesday like to knock the wind out of me. But, I was transparent to share it wasn't the best day for me. However, I still won because I made it through. So it's about, just being, a little bit more transparent so people don't think that, they watching everybody else on social media with the big wins and stuff.
Hmm.
Celebrate yourself. Becoming is a part of celebrating, the small wins, even some of the losses, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, you could choose what you want to share, but you need to be, transparent sometimes about.
And authentic.
Right, authentic. That's part of being authentic. You got to let the people see
Hmm.
some losses, some not good times. Like I said, all this weight I got on me, yeah, it ain't the best version of me, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to hide behind it. Like I don't want to be, on camera, or I don't want to be whatever. No, this is part of the process, because when y'all see me snatched, I want y'all to be able to go back and look at the video and be like, yeah, she did that. But it's a
Hmm.
process, it's definitely a process. So this is what, I'm trying to convey, that, just because a part of becoming is being transparent about who you authentically are, and sharing your story, because it's nothing wrong with just sharing some of the highs and lows behind what goes on in your life, and and that's where we at with it. So this is just the beginning of what
So let me
we'll
just say
go
this
ahead,
real quick.
go ahead.
And I think that because a lot of
Hmm.
times we try to hide the bad or the things that are
Hmm.
not so pleasing to
Hmm.
everybody is
Hmm.
why we have a hard time as women being together, because we always want to try to show up that we're perfect, when in reality we're all going through the same thing. It might be a
Hmm.
different situation, but
Hmm.
we all are going through the same thing. And
Hmm.
I feel as though if we be more authentic and trying
Hmm.
to pick out somebody else's issues and seeing how we can come together and help each other, like you
Hmm.
say, like we yin and yang,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Hmm.
We're alike in a lot of
Uh,
things, but
we're
it's
different.
only certain people
Right.
that can tell me certain things, and
Right.
it's only certain people that can tell her certain things. So
Absolutely.
you know, having those people who you trust, that when they come to you, they're coming to you in love,
Love.
it makes a big difference. And not
Hmm.
saying we don't even talk every day.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Sometimes not even every week.
No, we've been trying to be more intentional
Intentional.
with that. That
Right.
was another thing
Right.
that we have
Right.
to, because we was going like a month or so without even
Right.
talking, and then have to spend a whole 3 hours on the
Right.
phone
Right.
to do a dump on
Right.
everything that's
But
going
I had to
on.
gather her. I was like,
Ooh.
listen, friend, I don't know what you got going on. I don't know what's going on, but this ain't that
Because
over
she's
here.
outside and I'm not.
Right.
I'm very,
Right.
she's outside. She like to talk.
Right. But I'm like, we ain't we can't be going like,
Yeah.
and like I
And
said,
it's
when
important.
right, friendships are important, community is important, so when you have, quality friends or quality relationships, yeah, it make sure that that's
Yeah.
like anything. I mean, when you have relationships like marriages, I'm just using for example, it take work. It take work.
Absolutely.
Anything of value, it's going to take, work. It's going to take time. So, it's just what you put in is what you're going to get out at the end of the day. So when you have good relationships, and it's not always going to be peachy keen, but what I will say, we done had times where she done got on my nerves, and I know darn sure I done got on her nerves. But at the end of the day, I will say over our friendship, we ain't had no major falling
We
out.
ain't never fell out.
We ain't
We
never
never
had no
argue.
major falling outs. And just
Mm-mm.
because you don't see her around me, that don't mean she ain't around. You know what I'm saying? And this is doing the most to get her on here. You know what I'm saying? But just because sometimes people don't see you around or whatever, or they still around, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But every relationship, quality relationship, takes work, time and effort, and we all do have lives, and life do be lifing. But at the end of the day, like I said, cherish those relationships. And this is also a part of becoming. When you realize that there's a lapse or things that need to be
Mhm.
fixed, that's part of because
Pivoting.
yes,
Yes.
yes, that's a part of it. You gotta fix it if it
Mhm.
means something, to you. So I'm just
If
gonna
it's important to you, you're going to do what you need
need
to
to
do
do
to fix it.
right,
You know what I mean?
because
With whatever is in your means to fix it. Let me
exactly,
say that.
because if that paycheck ain't right, you going you gonna go fix it.
Everything gonna shut
Right.
down until it add up.
Okay, to the math be mathing. that's what that's what I'm saying. So it's worth it to put the work in on yourself first. And because if you're not good to yourself, you're not going to be good to nobody else, so that's also a part of
You can't
becoming.
pour from an empty
Empty cup,
wineskin.
you just definitely can't. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you for coming
No
out of your
problem. Yes.
comfort zone to be a part of this. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something. We've been talked about this, like even doing a podcast. How long ago was that?
And I still got the binder.
And
I
me
just
too.
looked at it. I just looked at the binder.
We talked about this, what, two
Yes.
years ago,
Yes.
to do a podcast. And God got a funny way of just how he moves. I'm gonna just say that.
Yeah.
But
It might start with Saturday conversations.
conversations, that's all I could say. But we had talked about this a while ago. But we just, like I said, it's about finding a time. Everybody
Mhm.
had a different schedule, doing different stuff. And that's another thing about becoming. And I'm saying, for me, accountability and consistency. Like, a part of becoming is you can't just talk about it. You
Mhm.
can't just talk about stuff. And I'm talking about the smallest personal stuff, meaning for your own stuff, the adjustments you need to make. It ain't, it's time out for talking. You got to, make the smallest steps to get to the bigger end game. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I have to say. And for today, anything else you want to say?
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. And until next Saturday, we'll see y'all.